morning, folks. I'm joined by Patty Walker, and I'm going to let Patty introduce herself here in a minute. But one of the things we want to be more intentional about with our weekly updates are just helping you get a glimpse into some other things that go on with the various ministries and initiatives that we have here. And so Wheatley Baptist Church has a very long legacy of missions and mission support work, and we're celebrating our 139th anniversary. So Patty was good enough to come in and spend some time with us this morning to be able to talk with you and maybe even give you an invitation about the missions work that goes on with Wheatley Baptist Church. So Patty, thank you for coming in.
Happy to be here.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation. And I would like to say happy 139th anniversary, Wheatley Baptist Church. I have been involved here at Wheatley Baptist Church since 1977.
Wow.
Thinking of anniversaries, I kind of looking back how long I have been involved here. And it was actually a woman from Wheatley Baptist Church that I met in September of 1977 that I saw in her something that I knew I needed. Mm. She had a peace and a love and a caring for others that just blessed my heart the moment I met her. And I was so drawn to her. And eventually we became very good friends. And she shared personally with me and many ladies who were together about what God was doing in her life. Mm-hmm. And that was what really spurred me. I knew that's what I wanted. I needed to hear more about that. Mm-hmm. And so Elsie put her arms around me and just loved me to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And the Lord, through her, spoke to my heart. Mm-hmm. And it was actually through her love of the Lord that brought me to Him.
Wonderful.
And so that was the beginning of my history here, because we were invited to come, and my children, our sons, came here with me for many years, yes, up until they left town too. So it was actually looking back in the history, I was trying to remember the number of missions that we have been involved in. And we have actually supported Tim and Sharon Sandvig, and they were with SIM, which is Serving in Missions, and John and Phyllis Coleman, they also were through SIM. Now John Coleman and Sharon Sandvig are brother and sister.
Right, yeah. And
their father was born and raised here in Wheatley, and his aunt actually too, June. So his name is Murray Coleman, and June Coleman. They actually were born and raised in Wheatley and came to Wheatley Baptist Church. Murray accepted the Lord and met his wife, and they actually went into missions in Ethiopia. And that's where they raised their family. Through SIM, they actually were with that organization. And they've had a long family history with serving in missions. So also we support a family through our Canadian Baptist Ministries, and that is Conrad and Fiona Kwok. And they are serving over in the Thailand area. Mm-hmm. There's a young man that is with, actually now, Campus Crusade for Christ in Texas. But he was a local young boy who came here as a teen with his siblings to the youth program. His name is Colton Major, and he went off to university, and he had accepted the Lord, and the Lord gave him the opportunity to join with Campus Crusade for Christ and do missionary work among the students there at York University and Toronto, University of Toronto. And when he got married to his current wife, Lauren, they moved back to Texas, where Lauren is from. And they serve with Campus Crusade for Christ. And also we supported the BCM International, which is Bible-Centered Ministries. And they actually are a ministry that's been started for many years, and they were brought to this area through Wheatley Baptist Church, and they began a after-school ministries and a children's programs, and also some of the teachers, they taught Bible studies for mothers,
Yes.
and then they'd have another missionary come in and help do a program with the children at the same time. And that was a wonderful ministry, and often they were done in the home.
Yep.
And Marian Olmsted was very much involved with that, and she would invite us all into her home, and it was a weekly Bible study for both the mothers and the children.
Wow.
And that was fantastic. Currently, Judy Hebert, who lives in Leamington, is serving with BCM, the Bible Centered Ministries. But before her, we have many that many of you may remember: Marilyn White and Kathy Shaw. There was, and also the Mellow Clinic Pregnancy Center, which used to be the Sun Parlor Sun Parlor Pregnancy Center in Leamington, has now been renamed because they provide different services. And they are currently still serving, and they are in the Princess Center in Leamington. We also supported Dave and Judy Wright, and Dave's brother Daniel, and his wife Teresa Wright. They were both with New Tribes Missions, which has now changed to Ethnos. They served in Papua New Guinea for many years, and then moved back to Canada, and they're now, Dave and Judy are still working with Ethnos, but they're working now with the Native Canadian Indians, First Nations in Saskatchewan, Alberta area. And we have also supported back a while ago NeighborLink, which is an organization that links services to the community. Also, we had our summer ministry missions, which was the DVBS. Now, some of you may be people or children who were served by the Sunday school bus ministry, which we had for many years here in Wheatley Baptist Church. And we would go around, the bus would pick up children and bring them to the church, and they would be here for the services each Sunday. A ministry that was very close to my heart was Campers Cove Ministry. I became involved with that in the very early 80s, and I went down and did the leading of the services and organization of the services, and then we had people who came in and spoke, and then we would have different programs. Sometimes we would have the youth come down and give a service on their own. Some of them would do their testimonies. We've had Teen Challenge. We've invited different Christian organizations that have outreach programs or in-house programs for different people. So that was a wonderful ministry, and I was involved with that for over 30 years, and I still miss it.
Sure.
It was really a hard
labor
one.
of love.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We've also supported, ever since I have remembered, is the Daily Bread, which is a monthly, actually now it's quarterly magazine that is sent out from Our Daily Bread, and we get those magazines sent here every 3 months, and that is not only for us to study the Bible and to see some maybe practical ways of applying the Bible to our lives, but also it's a ministry that we can hand those out to others. Absolutely. That maybe we can share something light that they can read, and they can get introduced to the Bible. Yes. And God can speak to us in many different ways. Yeah. So it's been interesting since COVID how I have found some people that I have thought, well, I'll pray about it. Lord, give me some names. And when He gives me a name, I will ask them. I'll give them a copy, and asked them if they would like to continue with those. And it's been really exciting
Yeah,
to see that
sure.
people are wanting to reach out that way.
Yeah.
But we have also done other outreach now, missions. The food bank has been a long-standing organization that we have had here, missional organization we've had here for many years. I know it was in the United Church for a while too, and then came, but it has actually been a project of all the churches that are in our community.
Yes.
In the beginning, the Catholic Church was involved, and then the Hope Center, and the United Church, and then our church.
Yeah.
And it's been a community effort to reach out to those who are in need. So that's been a wonderful blessing to see that when we had the May 16th miracle, it really was a miracle, because we've had so many that were involved, that volunteered, and many of you gave to help the people who are in need, and we thank you for that. Now that is actually our mission field. We talked about many of these who have gone out onto the mission field, which we are called in God's word to do, but he doesn't actually say, believe in me and then go out and share the gospel or share and do good works. He doesn't ask us to do that immediately to go out, because many of us can't. And then he gives us a mission field of our own, which is in our Judea or our Jerusalem here in our town. Our Judea is our county then, or maybe our province we can reach out to. But then others are able to and called to go and do mission work somewhere else. Abroad. To the uttermost parts of the world. So God not only asks us, as I said, to do things, say, out in the world, but he may give us opportunities that we think is very, very simple. And that, why would even God think that was something that was good and honoring to him? But he says if you even give someone a glass of water who is thirsty, you're actually giving that to him.
That's right.
And that really touched my heart when I read that, because we can give someone a hug and show an act of love, or we can give them a ride, or we can call. If we're isolated, a call for someone else who is even isolated, or even someone who isn't, is actually a blessing to them, but it's a blessing to us.
It is, isn't it?
We allow them to minister to us as we're ministering to them. So it's that one-on-one contact. It's not the isolation.
That's right.
And there's so many things we can do now in this time of COVID that we can keep 6 feet away, and yet we can share on media. We can share through a mail, a card. We can share through a prayer. Praying for others is so much a part of a mission.
Yes.
That prayers, if we can do that daily, we can do it through the day when a name comes to our mind. We can pray and ask God to meet their need. I've many times had someone's name come to mind and prayed for them, and then just shared with them, you know, today you came to my mind, or last week on Wednesday you came to my mind. And so God, I feel, wants me to pray for you. So whatever you were going through, I wasn't sure, but I just asked God to bless you, keep you, strengthen you, whatever he asked me to do, to pray for, I prayed for. And many times they would say, how did you know? Well, I didn't.
You didn't.
God did.
Yeah.
And he just asked me to do that. So that can be a way that we can serve the Lord through missions.
Absolutely.
Our own mission field.
Yeah, that's well said, Patty.
So may God richly bless you as you reach out for him, through him, to others. He's asking us, each and every one of us, to do that. And may he richly bless you as you do.
Great. You wanted in these updates.
Yes.
You wanted us to kind of work and look at some other missionaries.
Yes.
As we go on there, and so one of them that I know various people in the church have supported, and we have had a relationship for a long time, are with Rick and Carol Hawkins.
Yes.
So.
And I was saving them till the last.
Okay.
Because Rick and Carol Hawkins, I reached out. Now, many missionaries right now we're reaching out to, and we're asking them to send us a report and maybe a video or some way of sending something that we can share with you, because we aren't connected. So we can keep connected through media, which is amazing to me because I'm not technical. But Rick and Carol Hawkins were born in this area. They were born actually near Toronto. Rick was actually raised in Toronto, and Collingwood area is where I believe Carol is from. And they met, and Carol's mother-in-law loved her to the Lord. And Rick and Carol got married, and Rick worked with AT&T, and they were transferred to this area. So Rick and Carol chose to live in Wheatley. And they began attending Wheatley Baptist Church. They became a part of our family for a number of years, and the Lord called them to the mission field. So they have sent us a wonderful update and greetings about how they're doing, because Rick and Carol served for many years in Holland, actually the Netherlands, and they served there for many years. And now are retired and are living back in London. Now they decided to move to London because the Lord led them to London, because Rick has quite a severe immune
deficiency.
Deficiency, and so he needed to be very close to a medical center that could treat his condition. So they had chosen in some areas, they searched them out, but London seemed to be the place where they should be. So they do continue to come and visit. They send their blessings to each and every one of you, and they're going to do a brief update as to how they're doing.
Great.
And introducing the mission organization that they work for is Trans World Radio.
Right.
And actually there are some links that we can go to transworldradio.ca.
Great.
And each of the different missions that I have mentioned each have their own website.
Yeah, we'll add those to our page that this update goes on, for sure.
So we are going to list some of these names that we have supported, and then we are going to try and introduce them in some of our weekly updates.
Oh, super. Why don't we watch what Rick and Carol sent for us now?
Great to be able to share an update with our friends in Wheatley. You have a special place in our heart. For those who may not know us, we have been missionaries with TWR since 1993 and returned to Canada from Europe in 2016. I am retired, but Carol continues to work with TWR Canada. We are thankful to the Lord, especially during the lockdown. We experience His grace and provision. We have to be very careful due to my health concerns, and likely will have to be for some time to come. We are well situated in London, Ontario, near hospitals, and enjoy our lovely apartment. Now I will let Carol give you an update on what the Lord is doing through TWR.
Hello, welcome to our kitchen. Well, I want to share that the Lord is at work. Because of the pandemic, we find we are having a lot of new listeners in many countries where Transworld Radio is broadcasting programs specifically addressing the issues of COVID-19, the health issues, and the mental health issues. It is especially important now to come to the Lord, I believe, with a heart of thanksgiving. We need to thank the Lord for the unique task and ability that He's given us at Transworld Radio. So just imagine people in their homes, perhaps isolated and alone, but the broadcasts are coming in on the radio, on the internet. Perhaps they have media players that they can listen to. And please pray that as the gospel message comes in, that it will penetrate their hearts and that they will come to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ as their Savior and give their life over to Him. Also, please pray for our TWR co-workers in many countries where life was hard before the pandemic, but are now suffering even greater hardship. Now, because you're watching this, I know you're online and you have access to the internet. I'd like to suggest that you go to the TWR.ca website. That's our TWR Canada website. It's a very valuable tool where you can get information and prayer requests coming in from all over the world for Trans World Radio. Now we have a special section on the COVID-19. If you go to the website, you will see 3 headings: engage, our ministry, and our impact. And just above that, you will see COVID-19 updates. Now, when you're at that screen, just take a look on the right-hand side, and I suggest you go to latest reports. And there you'll find many specific prayer requests from our ministry partners from around the world. Asia, Central Asia, the Middle East, Africa. There's one there from Kenya I thought was really interesting. The Kenyan government asked Trans World Radio to air the children's school lessons on our FM network, which hits a lot of the rural areas of the country that their national network does not reach. And so every day we have students tuning into their lessons, but the interesting thing is that they actually tune in ahead of their lesson and they hang on after their lesson is over. So they hear our programmings afterwards and they're hearing the gospel perhaps for the first time. So we have many, many wonderful opportunities like this. And now we'll just close together.
We are thankful for your prayers for us and for the ministry of TWR. We will just close with a verse from Psalm 16, verse 8. I know the Lord is always with me. I will not be shaken, for he is right beside me. No wonder my heart is glad and I rejoice. God bless you all.
So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about not just Rick and Carol, but Trans World Radio 2. If there's ever a ministry or a mission initiative that's literally bringing the gospel to people, it's certainly TWR.
Yes, it is.
In that regard. So, and really, folks, that's our desire. We're not going to do one of these every single week, but we're going to do some of these over several weeks because we want you to be plugged in as much as we can make that happen during this time to the different initiatives and opportunities there are for us to support out there. God's world is vast. You know, the purpose statement that we have, you know, the last little tagline there is serving the world, and there's a long legacy of this congregation and this ministry serving the world, and you know, we're in the season that we're in now. Well, we can still serve the world as some of these ministries are doing, and we can use your support if as you heard Patty say, if it's nothing more than prayer. Yes. It's tremendously valuable, and I know it's very much welcomed by the people that we're associated with here.
But I'd also like to share that in some of these organizations send us monthly updates, and there is great need financially for some of the projects that they're finding are opening up in the needs for PPEs, but also for the ministry, for the missionaries who are out in the field, who are isolated. They're more so in connection with other people, and they're still trying to serve. So if you feel led, we do have many of the information that you would need. We
Absolutely.
have the envelopes, the addresses, and the contact information. So please get in touch with us.
Great. Well, Patty, thanks for taking time to come and share with us today. And I'll say thanks in advance, too, because we're going to coerce you to come back and maybe bring us another snippet of another current mission effort that we're serving alongside and in some capacity in the weeks ahead. So I really hope that you look for that and you find this valuable. So thanks, Patty.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Very good. And blessings,
you.
folks. I hope you have a great week.